Hey there! I'm author Sarah A. Chrisman.
And I'm Gabriel Chrisman.
And today we're going to tell you the story of America as seen through the artwork of Currier and Ives.
And especially through their dishes.
Absolutely.
So first off, tell them a little bit about Currier and Ives in general.
Right. So a bit of background. Currier and Ives images are very 19th century. So Currier and Ives was a lithography company. They did artwork in the 19th century that middle-class people and even people who didn't have much money would hang up on their walls. So these are images of America in the 19th century. And they did all sorts of images of America. You had everything from very pastoral scenes and walks in the woods to, the hostile Indians scalping the settlers.
They were ubiquitous. They were everywhere.
They were absolutely ubiquitous. Now, most of us are familiar with Currier and Ives through, don't drink my coffee, through the dishes that came out in the mid-20th century, where a dinnerware company, starting in 1949, was putting Currier and Ives images on dishes. Now, the original images were multicolor. They were polychrome. They were full color. The dishes are riffing off of a few different traditions. So they're riffing off of the Willoware tradition, which was a set of very popular dishes in the 19th century, which were blue and white.
From England.
From England. And then there's the Dutch Delftware tradition of the blue and white pottery. So in 1949, this company took these traditions of dinnerware and they took these very American images and combined them all together. So they took the dinnerware idea and Americanized it. Now, how I came to have my particular set of Currier and Ives dishes was that for several decades after their introduction in 1949, various stores, and especially grocery stores, used to do promotional tricks where they would say, oh, buy a bag of groceries and you get a free salad plate or a free soup plate next week, etc., etc. My mom actually collected the whole set of Currier and Ives dishes.
Through those promotions.
Through those promotions, piece by piece. And then she put them away in a cabinet and never used them. When I came along, I was absolutely fascinated by these dishes. I wanted to live in these scenes that I saw in these dishes. Very early influence on me. So I used to go over to that cabinet where they were packed away and very carefully bring them out and insist that we use them. So when I got married, she gave them to me. Okay, that's my backstory. Now, for the individual dishes we're going to go through. These dishes tell the story of America. They really do. And it's a very specific story of America. It's a story of a triumphant America.
Which makes a lot of sense for 1949 when you think about it.
Absolutely, 1949. Yes. We've just won World War II. And before World War II, we were coming out of the Great Depression. So the people coming home from war had been through years of wartime deprivation. And before that, they were through just famine in the Great Depression.
And before that, there was a lot of the sort of urbanization where everyone was moving out of the country into the cities. Honestly, it's still going on.
Right.
But it was really starting, in the teens and 20s.
Right.
And so the images of America here were just within living memory of some of the people. And they were certainly within, a generation or so of most of the rest.
And the other thing you've got going on in 1949 when these dishes were first introduced is the very start of the atomic age. They've just seen the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and there
was a lot of anxiety.
There was a lot of anxiety because the Cold War was starting with Russia, Soviet Union. And so there was this excitement about the potential for nuclear power, cheap, free electricity for everybody, but there was also the absolute terror of what nuclear energy could do.
And underneath all of that, you also had the worry about, well, with all this new stuff, sure, these are new and glossy and wonderful, but what about the old stuff we're leaving behind?
Right. And so out came these dishes. And they told this very wonderful story of a triumphant, exciting young America. And I think that's a story that should still be told.
Mm-hmm.
It's the story of America that a lot of people tell now is not as
Certainly not
as
triumphant.
empowering.
Yes, not as empowering, I agree.
And I think we do well to remember the more empowering stories of America.
All the sides of it.
Because any history, there are many different ways you can tell a story. And the narrative flows, and the narrative makes you feel a certain way according to how you tell the story. Lots of truths. It's a question of which truths you choose to concentrate on and choose to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
So we're starting with the serving platter, which is the biggest dish in this set. It's probably the earliest scene, arguably. This is a picture of Manifest Destiny. This is the Oregon Trail.
It's the Oregon Trail and crossing the Rocky Mountains specifically.
Right. You've got the prairie schooners, you've got the oxen, you've got the friendly Indian guides. Now, in the 19th century, and actually way back, America, the indigenous tribes of America were a very diverse group of peoples. These are a very diverse set of different nations. Many of them were friendly to each other, many of them were hostile to each other.
And many of them were friendly or hostile to the Americans or the new settlers when they were coming in.
Very much so. And it tended to
For
be
a wide variety of reasons.
It tended to be the case that maybe they were friendly to the British, but hostile to the Americans later on, or they were friendly to the French and therefore hostile to the British. And then when we went against the British, they were,
It got complicated.
It got complicated, just like any political alliances do.
Mm-hmm.
So, as I mentioned before, in the full sweep of Currier and Ives artwork, there are images of the friendly tribes, there are images of the hostile tribes. But for this set, because of the story they wanted to tell, they chose an image of the friendly Indian guides guiding settlers over the Rockies.
Yes.
Now, one of the things that was often said about the trip westward and the journey west, because it was very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the cowards never started and the weaklings died along the way.
A very classic bit of Western Americana.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they made the West what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this all started back when America bought the Louisiana territories from France, because Napoleon needed money for his wars.
Very badly.
Very badly. We bought a lot of the West from France, and we kind of stole the rest of it from Spain and Mexico.
For the most part.
Yeah, it was Mexico by that point.
Yeah.
But then as the West opened up, people went out there. And this is that story of the settlers braving all of the hardships, all of the hunger, the potential for injury, all of those dangers of the trail.
And just being away from their family and their world and having to learn a whole ton of new things in a totally different alien and hostile environment.
But at the same time, it was very exciting.
Yes.
This was a frontier of freedom. This is the story of the West.
Yes, absolutely.
And so that's where we start. Then after they've gone west and they've settled, then we have the harvest. And there are any number of images you can choose to present a harvest scene.
And again, Currier and Ives had done all of them
Oh,
for
yeah,
the most
they've
part.
done all
Every
of them.
possible variation.
I mean, you can show plowing, you can show sowing, you can show reaping. All of those are a lot of hard work. They specifically, when they made the dishes, they chose a scene where all of the hard work is done and people are putting the shocks of wheat together. And
otherwise enjoying a meal together and just sort of relaxing.
Right.
This is the fun part of harvest.
This is the bounty. This is the bounty of America. This is America's wealth is in its soil image. And this is the image of America will never go hungry because we have such wealth in our soil.
It was also a celebration of hard work well done,
Now,
which honestly worked very well for 1949.
Right, very well for 1949. Remember, these people are coming out of wartime austerity where they've had strict rationing on meat and lots of other things. And before that, they had the Great Depression, as I keep mentioning, where there wasn't rationing, you just didn't have stuff. And so this image of bounty, this reassurance that because America has such wealth in our soil, we will never go hungry, is a very reassuring image.
Yep.
And I want to point out that on each and every one of these dishes, another thing that the dishware makers did to emphasize the nostalgic aspect of them is that they all have these flourishing curlicues, which are from 19th century books of penmanship.
Yeah, these were called pen flourishes.
Pen flourishes. And so it adds to this feeling that you are entering the 19th century when you look at these dishes. It's part of what makes them resonate as something old and nostalgic. They wouldn't seem nearly as old if they didn't have that detail. Now from the harvest scene we come into winter. And this is a picture of a grist mill because we are grinding the grain now. They've harvested the grain, now they're going to grind it to make their bread and other things. And again, this is early winter. The trees have lost their leaves. There's a bit of snow on the ground, but you know that you're going to be safe for the winter. You're going to be fed through the winter.
It's also an image of pre-industrial America. This is an old grist mill that is powered by a water wheel. And this is sort of the opposite of what you might imagine for a factory or anywhere that, honestly, by 1949 was where most of the wheat would have been ground.
Absolutely.
These were a big part of the past. Honestly, by the end of the 19th century, these were in the past.
Right.
And so this is a very nostalgic image for a pre-industrial time.
Right. I mean, there's still a few of these around just as relics, and there were at the time too, but they weren't in use any longer.
Yeah.
And it's the same image on the dinner plate and on the tumbler. And then we have the skating scene, which is a very fun one for a soup bowl. Because when do you eat soup? In the winter.
Yes. And again, it's showing very much the fun side of winter.
Right. This is not the Laura Ingalls Wilder, the long winter deprivation, the time of hardship.
Right.
No, this is the fun winter where the kids go skating and everyone's happy and everyone's having fun. Because that's part of the story they wanted to tell.
Yes.
That yes, we're a country that works hard, but we're a country that has fun.
And speaking of that, other winter fun.
Yes, we have the sleigh on the butter dish and also on the, I've never quite worked out if this is a gravy train or...
I think this is a gravy boat.
I think it's intended for a gravy boat. I always put my tea in it, but
it's a double-handed gravy boat.
Yeah, I mean the bags of tea I always put in here.
Yes, it would be a little large for tea.
It would be large to drink out of, but I think it's intended as a gravy bowl. But that one and the butter dish, which at some point our cats broke, and we had to glue back together. It has the picture of the sleigh. So this is fun winter, and again, it's nostalgic. It's this image of going off somewhere in the winter time.
Yes.
Now, from there, a very similar image, but at a different season of the year, we have the little carriage, the little I think it's a phaeton, isn't it? It's open.
Could well be.
It's open and it's small and it looks fast, so I think that's a phaeton.
It's either that or a Victoria. That's the other type, depending on the spring setup. That looks even more like a Victoria.
I think you're right.
Yes.
I think that is a Victoria.
Yeah.
But the one girl in her bonnet with her veil behind two fast horses going for a drive in the country.
Yes.
And the saucer that goes with the teacup or coffee cup, as you will, is a steamship. So these are two forms of transportation that are very much 19th century transportation. And actually, in the background, is that a train in the background of her scene too?
No, that's a fence.
That's a fence. Okay. I don't have my glasses on.
Yes.
But yeah, 19th century transportation that evokes that nostalgia, and it evokes that American feeling of freedom, that American feeling of the open road or the fast flowing river, that we live in a big country and we can go places.
Yes, exactly.
Which contrasts very strongly with a lot of places where movement had been restricted by
Right.
the time these dishes came out in 1949.
Right. And so along the same lines, the creamer and the sugar bowl also celebrate that sort of aspect of American technology and transportation and expansiveness.
These have steamships again.
That one does, and this has a train. And so very much a part of that westward expansion and Americana, and also the nostalgia.
Right.
The steam engine that's depicted on there was very much on the way out or almost gone by 1949, when diesels and everything else were coming in and replacing them.
And yet people still love the old trains. There's something about the old trains that just pulls on people's heartstrings.
Yes.
You know, in the children's book, The Polar Express, it's not a diesel engine.
No.
That is an old school coal-fired steam engine.
Yes.
And then the last one is the little bowl that is probably dearest to my heart, because I mentioned that my mom packed away her dishes and never used them. My grandma had one dish from the Currier and Ives set, and that was a little bowl like this one. And she used to buy the cheapest ice cream once it had gone stale and was on sale, and it was like pulling teeth to talk her out of any ice cream.
And it was all freezer burnt.
And it was all freezer burnt, but I was a little girl. Little girls love ice cream. And so, in the first place, talking my grandma out of any of her precious ice cream was always a big deal. And she would always serve it to me in a bowl just like this one. So this was always a red letter day. And when I got down to the bottom of the bowl, it's this scene of children on a gate talking together over a gate. So as a small girl...
And swinging on the gate.
And swinging on the gate.
Yes.
And so as a small girl, it was very easy for me to picture myself in this scene. And it's, again, a very idyllic scene. The kids are friendly. They aren't picking on each other, which was a very different reality from the reality I remember as a child. They're not competing over who's got the flashiest toys, because there are no toys in the scene. They're just getting along and having fun together, which was what you wanted, which was the world you wanted to live in. And
of all of these, that might be the most timeless as well.
I think so. I think so. It's one you can definitely still picture happening if kids were a bit nicer to each other.
Yes.
But that's the point of all of these, is that it's the story of the America we want. The empowering story of what America should be and can be if we make it that way.
And using that nostalgia to have people remember the good parts of the past.
Right, absolutely. And to inspire everyone. To empower us with the message that we have done great things and we can do great things. And to remind us that there are things worth working towards and worth fighting for. So, thank you for watching today. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a nice thumbs up, and remember to tell your friends about my books. Happy reading!